Hey guys, yep, I'm the idiot who forgot to film an intro, so first up will be a product demo and then my thoughts at the end. Enjoy! First, I'm just priming my eyes with the Anada concealer, just putting that all over both of my eyelids. I'm gonna set that with the pressed eye color in Cameo, which is basically just a white eyeshadow. So I'm actually just going to stick my brush right in the little bag and gather some of the product right on there. Now taking the pressed eye color in Freesia, this will be my transition shade. And again, I'm just sticking a brush right in there, this time a fluffy brush, and just kind of tapping off at the tip of the bag to get the excess off and blending that into my crease area. Next, I'm taking some e.l.f. glitter glue, and I'm going to put that all over my lids. This isn't focusing, but this is the Luminous eye color in Fairy Dust. It's one of their limited edition shades for winter. And I'm just going to pack that on the inner and outer third of each eye. I'm now taking the Luminous eye color in Twinkle Mint, which is another limited edition winter shade. And I'm packing that onto the center of each eye, like a halo eye. I'm taking the pressed eye color in Rosen Gold, and I'm putting that on the inner corners. I'm taking the Luminous eye color in Pixie Pink, and putting that underneath the brow bone. I'm mixing the foundation with the Kat Von D concealer and whiteout to lighten it. There's the mix on the back of my hand. I'm blending that in with a sponge instead of a brush like they had suggested, and I really liked how this worked out, and also I did a really good job mixing because the color was perfect. I'm putting some more of the concealer under my eyes now, and just setting select areas with my e.l.f. HD powder. Going back to the eyes, I'm using Twinkle Mint, and I'm going to put that underneath my lower lash line. I'm taking the Sheer Matte Pressed Powder Blush in Dahlia. And what I like to do is pour a little bit out onto a flat surface. This is just the top of my e.l.f. HD powder. Just a little bit, you don't need much. Grabbing my blush brush, I'm going to tap that into the product and then into the clean part of the surface just to really press the product into the bristles. I'm also tapping off on the back of my hand once before brushing it onto my cheeks here. And it's important to have a nice clean surface on your face, like nice and set with powder first. And this streak that appears on my cheek here is what happens because of the granules not being crushed up finely enough, because this was a pressed product being turned into a loose product, but I was able to blend that away, as you can see. I'm now taking their Luminous highlight powder in Ethereal. Just going to swirl my highlighting brush right in the powder and applying that to the tops of my cheekbones in a swirling motion. It's a very nice color, I really like this. I'm taking the Anada lipstick in Icy Pink with one of the applicators they gave me. And just applying that like I would with a lip brush. This goes on really well. I'm just going off camera to apply some mascara, and I'll be back with my thoughts.
Right, so with mascara on and everything, this is the final look. I tried to use a few different finishes of the eyeshadow, and I tried to use as many products as possible here, just so you could kind of see how everything looks and how everything performs. And so I kind of took some notes on the products that I've sampled over the past few weeks, and so I could give you an idea of what they're like, what I thought of them. So if you want to know anything about the foundation, I've already done a video on that, so I'll link that below and you can have a look at that. And if you want to see swatches of the products that I haven't used in this video, I have a video on that as well, so I'll link that too. So starting with skincare, I tried the Gentle Cleanser Scentless. That retails for $19.50 for 8 ounces, which is a good deal, in my opinion. On the site, it says it's gently going to remove makeup and oils with a gentle cream cleanser made with scent-free botanical ingredients. So when I tried this, it had a very milky and creamy consistency to it. It's not foaming, and it is very gentle. In fact, it's gentle enough that I used it around my eye area, and it helped remove a little bit more of the mascara I had left over on my eyes, and it didn't irritate my eyes at all. The only thing I would say is that while it doesn't necessarily have a fragrance, like there's no added fragrance to it, it has this slightly, this is going to sound odd, fatty smell to it, almost like a fatty oil. If you do a lot of cooking, you may know what that smells like. And I'm guessing that there's some sort of oil or butter in this that gives off that sort of fatty smell. And I had the same issue with the Daily Moisturizer Scentless. And again, it says it's going to hydrate your skin with a lightweight, scent-free lotion containing natural scent-free ingredients. I had the same scent there, so it wasn't an added fragrance. It was definitely something that was in there. It just kind of smelled a bit fatty. Not sure why. Now, as for the actual moisturizer, a little bit goes a long way with that. It's not overly heavy and it's not too light. I think it would work for a variety of skin types. It didn't break me out. I used it for quite a few days in a row, day and night. And it didn't irritate my skin, give me any rashes or anything, so that's good. And that's also $19.50 for 2 ounces. I tried their hydrating toner with marine minerals. That comes in 2 sizes, $6 for 50 milliliters or $19.50 for 240 milliliters. I was only able to try this once because the sample size was extremely small, therefore I'm not comfortable telling you whether or not it would have irritated my skin. I feel like you need to give a product more than 1 day to be able to tell that. It's made with hyaluronic acid to plump and hydrate skin without leaving oily residue. Properly balanced pH toner that closes pores, adjusts the pH of skin, and removes remaining cleanser. I mean, it felt like a toner. It didn't leave an oily residue, which is good. It just felt like a toner. I don't know that it hydrated necessarily. It just felt like any other toner I've tried. So their smooth priming serum, I tried that in the foundation video and I noticed that the foundation was kind of clinging to certain spots and breaking up on my skin. I attributed it to that and I think I was right. I'm wearing the foundation again right now with the Kat Von D Lock-It Concealer in Whiteout to mix it in and lighten it, and I'm not having any issues. And so I think it definitely was the priming serum. I'm not wearing the priming serum right now. However, the priming serum itself, I think it would work well as a skincare ingredient rather than a primer. It only has 2 ingredients in it. It has chamomile and it has hyaluronic acid. So I think if you put that on before a moisturizer rather than after, as is suggested, it goes after moisturizer and before foundation. I think that it would possibly work better that way. That is $25 for 1 ounce. On the site it says it's going to smooth and prepare skin for makeup application by plumping fine lines and hydrating dry patches. I guess I would say it does leave the skin feeling kind of plump afterwards, but because of what happened with the foundation, I'm just not a fan of it as a primer. So onto makeup stuff. The Glow Finishing Loose Powder. $25 for 10 grams or $12 for 3 grams. It is a soft focus effect powder and a luminous setting powder. Helps blur fine lines and other imperfections. Sheer, translucent, porcelain finish. Yeah, no. That stuff is dark. It's actually too dark for me to even use as a bronzer. I don't know where they get off saying it's translucent. Yeah. So if you're anywhere near close to my skin tone, even if you're darker than I am, that's not going to be translucent on you. So they need a better description for that. It does, however, have a very nice finish. It didn't make my skin look powdery or dry after I put it on, which is nice, but that stuff is pigmented. That is tinted. Pure Anada, WTF. So their highlighting powder, $12 for 3 grams in 2 shades. I'm wearing the shade Ethereal Light, which is described as a cool highlight shade with pink undertones, suitable for fair to medium skin tones. I would say it's probably best for fair to light, not fair to medium, just because of the fact that it is very fair and cool toned. It's not the type of pink highlight that, let me grab my Kat Von D Alchemist palette for a second. So this has a pink shade in it down at the bottom here. The thing with all of these shades, including this one here, is that they kind of shift in the light. And so even on deeper skin, it's going to look different and adapt. This one is not. The reason I say that is because it seems to have a different sort of base to it that's probably going to come off as quite ashy. I think it might have a slight white base to it. I would not depend on that to look good if your skin is medium to deep. So just be aware of that. It applies really well with a brush. It doesn't really have glitter. It has quite a bit of shimmer, and it's quite subtle. Like, it's more subtle even than this here, which probably doesn't pick up great on camera. Sorry about that, but it is very pretty. And yeah, if you have a very fair skin like mine and you're looking for something that is very subtly glowing and that very pale pink color, I think you would really like this. So their cheek colors, their loose mineral cheek colors are $12 for 3 grams and come in 6 shades. I have the shade Azalea. It says, mineral cheek colors diffuse beautifully onto skin. The demi-matte finish is a perfect blend of matte, oxides, clays, and luminous mica to give a healthy glow. So what I usually do with this is I tip it onto a flat surface, as you saw, and I kind of press the brush onto the pigment, and then I press it again onto a clean portion of that surface, just to kind of press the pigment further into the bristles. Otherwise, when I put it onto my cheek, the pigment is just going to kind of sit in one spot, and like, it's just going to be loose pigment there. So it's going to be harder to blend. And also by pushing it further into the bristles, it kind of makes it less pigmented, because loose blushes, I've not really worked with them before, but this is very, very pigmented stuff. So, and that shade is quite dark. So I want to get that as well blended as possible onto the skin without making it look really dark and really crazy. This is the best way I've found to do it. If your skin is quite tacky, I actually recommend putting it on hydrated skin. Now, there's a difference between having hydrated skin and having sticky skin. If your skin is in any way tacky, say from your foundation or your moisturizer, it is going to stick down to one spot and not blend. So I would recommend setting the surface where you're going to be applying the blush and then applying it. So they also have a pressed cheek color, which comes in 8 shades for $12. I'm not sure what size the pan is. If I can figure it out before I post this video, I'll post the gram size somewhere on screen. It's described as mineral pigments and organic jojoba pressed together to create a natural makeup product with a silky texture and demi-matte finish. I got these in 2 shades. I have the shade Dahlia and Sweet Pea. So the same thing kind of goes with these in terms of application. However, one of the blushes I found, because it's coming from a pan into a loose format for a sample, some of the chunks were quite large because they would have had to break it up. And so what you kind of do there, while it's in the sample pack, just kind of squish it around a bit so that those chunks break up a little bit more, because otherwise one of those chunks is just going to land on your cheek and create a huge streak. That actually happened today during application. You would have seen that. It just kind of created one streak of color. But as you also saw, I was able to blend that away. This obviously is not going to be an issue if you purchase a full size. It's just going to come in the pan. Their Luminous shadows are $8 for 1 gram and come in 52 shades. That's a nice big shade range, so surely you'd find something there if you're into loose shadows. They are finely milled micas that impart an illuminating glow. You can apply them dry for soft, subtle color, or wet them for more vibrant intensity. And when you apply them wet, you can also kind of create a gel eyeliner. I've done this before with loose eyeshadows. So obviously these are a little bit messy. I put them on before I did the rest of my face, as you saw. You can try and avoid that a little bit by tapping off the brush, but because a lot of these had glitter in them, some of the glitter does still fall away. That's why I tried to use a glitter glue for the majority of my lid. And again, like, that kind of ties into the fact where glitter doesn't adhere well to very dry skin, so using that sticky base does help. My least favorite one is definitely the purple. The shade here is called Tropical Violet. I don't know if you watched the swatch video I did, but as I was kind of blending it around, it's just quite patchy, unfortunately. Now this is a luminous eye color, and I'm not sure if it had been matte, maybe it would have been better. I think it's just because of the pigment. Purple pigments can be difficult. I don't know why. It sucks because I'm a purple fan. Their Velvet Matte eyeshadows come in 16 shades, again $8 per gram. They are soft, subtle matte minerals that give your eyes a subtle sweep of color with no shimmer or shine. They're the same thing as above. They're also loose, and it's just that they're a matte finish instead of a shimmer finish. Their pressed eyeshadows are $8 for 25 different shades. The gram size, again, I'm not sure, but if I find out, I'll put it somewhere on the screen. I'm going to guess it's a 1 gram pan, but I don't know for sure. Much like their blushes, they are mineral pigments and jojoba that are pressed together to create a natural makeup product, available in demi-matte and matte finishes. So their demi-matte is basically just going to be a satin shimmer. So again, this is kind of the problem, or not really the problem, but kind of like if you had the blushes, again, they're going to crush them up and put them in the little sample size for you. I didn't run into as many problems with there being larger granules that need to be squished like I did with the blushes. And I found that these are a little bit more pigmented and endear to the eye better than the loose shadows. And again, if you don't like loose shadows, just remember that if you have a full-size pan of this, you aren't going to have to worry about sticking your brush into a loose shadow. This is just for the sample that they happen to be loose. The Pure Anada lipsticks, which I'm wearing one today. They're $14 for a 3 gram lipstick and come in 17 shades. Glimmering minerals ensure natural shine and long-lasting wear. No silicones, dyes, or artificial flavors. Provides fabulous moisture and color. So I find these to be super creamy and smooth. They kind of feel a lot similar in texture to their lip balms, which I mentioned before. I'm a big fan of those. I've been using them for quite a while. You can see they just kind of, my lips are just kind of gliding together. And when I swirl that little doe foot applicator they gave me in the sample, it just, like, the color just comes right off. It's not stiff at all. I can't say enough about these. These are really, really comfortable. Now, granted, this is only one shade. Maybe the others are different, but I really like this one. And this one is not matte, obviously. This is kind of like a frosty sheen, I would say. Which is very appropriate, considering the name of it is called Icy Pink. So, and the Tin Feather lipstick, which is the other brand of lipstick they sell on their website, is $18 for 3 grams in 10 shades. It's designed by makeup artist Kristen von Riesen, and the lipsticks are made in Morden, Manitoba with vegan and food-grade colorants to provide modern creamy matte shades. I wouldn't call them matte, at least not the one I have. It's in the shade Volcanic. I find that is about the same texture and shine as this. The shade itself, I'll show you. The shade itself is quite dark here. And on the website it shows it as being very dark on the lips. But because it's so creamy and kind of shiny, I don't find that it goes on nearly as dark as what they show it to, unless you build it up a lot. However, the more you build it up, the more it tends to, what's the phrase I'm looking for here? Like when you press your lips together like that, because the pigment is so dark, the pigment just moves around. It doesn't stay even, it just kind of slides around all over the place. So it becomes streaky and it starts to feather outside. So with that, what I tend to do is apply a really even layer and then I blot it down, which unfortunately loses the creaminess of the texture, but it keeps the color even. So I guess that's everything. If you have any questions about any of the products here, let me know and I'll try and answer them for you. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.